Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video which, quite frankly, I've been scared of doing. I'm scared of the amount of books that I have acquired since I started reading again and watching BookTube and being part of the kind of like online book space. Since I got back into reading, I've acquired so many books. Like, this is just some of it. There's still 2 other places in my flat that I have books, and that doesn't even take into account the books I have stashed away at my parents' house. There's a few there. Most of those I have read, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple there that are still unread, and I probably have to go through and see whether I still want to read them because I've forgot about them for many years anyway. Some of these I've had on my shelf for a couple of months. Some of them I've had for a day. Some have been here for years. So come with me as we dive headfirst into all of my unread books on my TBR. Let's go. So at the top of this bookshelf, we have This Is This Side of Paradise and Beautiful and Damned by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I bought it so many years ago because I loved The Great Gatsby when I read it. This must have been like 10 years ago. This World of Warcraft book is not mine, so I'm not counting it, but I haven't read it. And I've read these two. So this is kind of like a self-help book. It's 21 Rituals to Change Your Life by Teresa Chung. I think I got like halfway through this and then I stopped reading it. So maybe one day I'll get back to it, but that's number 2. Then next up we have The Hobbit and also Jay by Howard Jacobson. I picked The Hobbit up fairly recently. I got this in like February of this year. It's like an illustrated edition, so it's got all of these pictures in. Jay by Howard Jacobson. I bought this back when I was watching BookTube in like 2015, 2014. Look, you can see that it's shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize 2014. That must be when I bought it. You can see it's kind of yellowed at the right in the edges. This is my next shelf. You can see we have like a Hello Kitty here in the corner who's hiding lots of books. But if we just go, so here we have Heartstopper, which I read all 3 of these. I need the 4th one. I keep meaning to buy it and catch up, but I haven't. This is Out There Screaming by Jordan Peele, which is a anthology of like horror, and I'm about halfway through this. You can see there's a bookmark in here still. The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. This has been on my TBR for so long. Again, I don't think I read this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still interested in reading it because I feel like I could definitely use this. And another self-help book that I bought and never read, which is Brave New Girl by Chloe Brotheridge. It's kind of a book on how to be like more confident in yourself and be less people-pleasing and kind of like deal with anxiety. So I feel like, to be fair, I feel like I could use that too, and I probably should get to it soon. I've read Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. This book is not mine, so I'm not counting that one either. Crying in H Mart, I've read and loved. Book Lovers, I've read and loved. Undercover Princess, I've read. Carrie, I've read. My Dark Vanessa, I've also read. Katie McQuiston's One Last Shot. This I have not read yet. It's a sapphic romance. I kind of want to get to this. I should include this in my reading romance books. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This is a kind of like literary fiction about 2 sisters and how their lives kind of converge. I haven't read November 9 by Colleen Hoover, but I have it in here still. I bought this like quite a while ago, and I don't know if I have much intention of reading any more Colleen Hoover. I feel like I might get rid of this one, so I'm not actually going to count that one. So I'm not going to count that one because I'm going to get rid of that one. Another book that's been on my TBR for so many years, Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I got this back in the day and just have never picked it up, but I still want to read it. And then I've read Little Fires Everywhere, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I've read Ugly Love. Is another one that I don't know if I want to read because it's another Colleen Hoover. The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods, which I also have not read. And then Wild is not actually my book, but I kind of want to include it because I do want to read this. It's about a woman who kind of changes her life and she goes on this kind of hike across America. I think it sounds quite interesting. I think it's a memoir. And then Dark Matter I have read. Next shelf is kind of like a mix of different things. So these are mostly cooking books here, so I don't think I'll include these. But the ones that are on here are Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club, which I still need to read. I have the first 2. And then I also have a copy of Butter. I see such divisive things about this book, so I really want to read it and give it a go. And then I have 2 Emily Henrys, which I've yet to read, are You and Me on Vacation and Beach Read. And then I have read Ghosts and I have read Piranesi. I've read Wuthering Heights, I've read Jane Eyre, and I've read Tess of D'Urbervilles, and then all the rest I need to read. So we've got Tenant of Wildfell Hall, got Villette, Jude the Obscure, Far from the Maddening Crowd, and The Mayor of Casterbridge, which are all ones I need to read. You can see by the fact that all these books are stacked here that my bookshelves are overflowing and I don't have room for more. Okay, and then down on this shelf, I have read a lot of these. I have read Battle Royale, I've read Verity, I need to read Hidden Bodies, which is the sequel to You by Caroline Kepnes. And then I also have Gone Girl. I've watched the film first, so I've been putting this one off for sure. I have Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. In recent years, has been a more controversial author. I'm hesitant to buy more of her books, but I feel like this book, I'm still interested to read it as I own it. Stormfront is not mine, so I'm not sure that I actually want that. My camera decided to overheat because of it's a hot day. Stormfront is not mine, and I do have The Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which I've had on my TBR for many years. I think Peru's Project influenced me to get this back in the day, so that's in there. And then I also have Let's the Right One In, which is like, I haven't watched the film and I haven't read the book, and I've always been like, I want to read the book before I watch the film, but I haven't done either, so that's been on there for many years. I also have Crooked Kingdom, which is the sequel to Six of Crows, which I haven't read, but I have around somewhere as well. And then I have The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, which I still haven't read. I mean to read it every autumn, but somehow it just doesn't happen. I've read Hold Up the Universe, Where the Crawdads Sing. I mean, I feel like I'm never going to read this. I bought it when the film came out, but I just haven't read it, and I probably won't. And then we have this, the Red Rising trilogy, which I do want to read. I haven't read Red Rising yet, so I'm not going to count them until I have read Red Rising, because I don't know if I want to continue with it, and these aren't mine, so I feel like I can not count this one, so that's fine. And now we move on to the bookshelves that are in my office. So on this top shelf, I have read Babel. I have not read The Secret History yet. I haven't read Seven Faceless Saints either. I haven't read Electra. I have read Ariadne. I haven't read The Book of Form and Emptiness. And I haven't read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo yet either. This shelf is very unread. And I also haven't read The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. This is, I feel like it's an ongoing book that you kind of pick up and read, but still, I haven't finished it. And then moving down to this shelf, I've read Fire Rush, I've read Yellowface. I haven't read Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow. I love the cover. It was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction last year or the year before. I haven't picked it up yet though. I've read Ruthless Vows, I've read Happy Place, I've read Funny Story. I have not yet read Great Big Beautiful Life, but I mean to very soon. And then on this little shelf, there's a little Kirby up here, which is very precariously placed, so I'm not going to move him. And there's also a little bunny, but I'm not going to move him. I have read Two Wrongs Make a Right. I have read Love on Saffron. I have not read Red Rising, which I really want to read. I haven't read Killers of a Certain Age either. I have read A Dowry of Blood, Set on You, and X's and O's. I have not yet read The Wild Sargasso Sea, even though I mean to. I haven't read Bookshops and Bone Dust, and I haven't read Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. All of these shelves are kind of like my anticipated reads. And then down here, I have not yet read Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong, but I love the cover and I would love to read that very soon. I haven't read this, which is Silver in the Bone, I think by Alexandra Bracken. I got this in like a Fairy Loot book or Illumicrate, one of them. I have read Sundial, I've read Looking Glass Sound, I've read This One Sky Day. I haven't read Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood, which again came in a book box. And then I have Love Sickness by Junji Ito, which I don't think I have read yet, but I have read Frankenstein by Junji Ito, and I have read The Last Vampire Slayer, which is a kind of Buffy comic. Over to this shelf, I've read Orange 1 and 2, and I've read Yona of the Dawn. I haven't read I Really Want to Read. I love the cover of this, and I've heard such good things about it. I have read The Final Empire, but I have not yet read The Well of Ascension or The Hero of Ages, so this is kind of both on there. And then I have not read this Attack on Titan kind of omnibus. It's like volumes 1, 2, and 3 all together. It's a manga. And then down here we kind of have like my anticipated TBR. So I have like two journals here. I have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, which I have not read yet, but I want to read more Jane Austen. Okay, and then we have Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Earnshaw, which is kind of a retelling of The Nightmare Before Christmas, but from Sally's point of view, which I thought was really interesting. And then we have Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdul, which is, he's a very well-known YouTuber who does like productivity videos and so. The Book of Elsewhere by Keanu Reeves and China Mayville, which is like, I think a tie-in book with like this comic series that they've done. Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I've got this really pretty cover and edition from the works. last year, but I just haven't got around to it yet. And then we have Hellbent, which is the sequel to Ninth House, which I have read and still need to get to that. There's a little bit of a trend here. And then we have Six of Crows, which I really want to get to because it's such a like booktube favorite that I still haven't read. And then we have Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, which I bought when I was in Ireland. And then finally we have this little shelf, which kind of has like a bunch of random books on, to be honest. There's mostly like design books over here, which I'm not going to count, but we do have this. The One Thing is a kind of self-help book about focusing on the things you are good at. Then we have Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, which I have read. John Green's Paper Towns. Emily St. Mendel's Sea of Tranquility, which I haven't read. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Careering by Daisy Buchanan, which I also have not read, but I have read Black Butterflies, so there's some hope in here. And then finally, I have this kind of random shelf that's just in my bedroom with a bunch of different books in. It's on my like dresser. They're just kind of like my overflow shelf where I put different books. So we have Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I haven't read. I picked this up in Bath last year. Everything I Know Ever Told You, I have read. Just My Type, I have not read, which is kind of like a design book about the importance of typography. I have to move my little bears. Sorry, little bears. This is Duncan and Mitch. They're my two little beanie babies I got obsessed with. And then we have Bright Young Women, Mongrel by Hanako Footman. And then we have Natives by Akala, which is kind of like a non-fiction about race and class in the UK. And then I also have Milk Teeth by Jessica Andrews, which I got for my birthday a couple of years ago, and I still need to really read. It's like a small book, so I don't know why. And then we have River East, River West by Aubrey Lescure, which I have read. This was for the Women's Prize last year. And then I have Herc by Phoenicia Rogerson, which I love the cover of this. I went to a talk, Phoenicia Rogerson was talking, and she convinced me to buy her book, basically. And then I also have Fourth Wing, which I bought a couple of years ago when it was so hyped up, and I still want to read it just because I want to have an opinion on Fourth Wing, and I feel like I kind of want to give it a go just to see what I think about it. And then I have one more book, which is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I'm starting to work my way through. It's been on my bedside table, but it's still on there to read. I haven't got very far. I also have this copy of I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, which I found in the works for £3, but when I got to the till, like it says £3 on the label here, but when I got to the till it was £1.25, so it was even more of a bargain than I thought it was going to be. But I've just added this to my TBR. This I bought today. Okay, so I have done some tallying up and I had to check multiple times because I am actually quite bad at maths. Mental maths is not my strong point. Like counting as I went just like didn't work because I think I got the wrong numbers. I must have missed some the first time. But anyway, I triple checked, and the overall number that came up twice was 73. I mean, it's under 100. So I feel like that's not too bad. That's like, you know, that's really not too bad. I didn't particularly count how many I own, so I don't know what percentage that is. But that's all of my unread books. I feel like 73 isn't as bad as maybe I was thinking it was going to be. So I feel like we can work with this. We can tackle this. But I still feel like that is that's a big number. Like I really shouldn't be buying any more books unless they are like £1.25, like I got the Jandy Nelson book this morning for, which I think was a deal. So I feel fine about that. But time to start reading the books that I do own. This doesn't even include my Kindle books. Should I do a separate video for my Kindle books? I don't actually have too many. I think maybe I've got like 20, 25 on there. Trying to kind of get through my TBR, like, because I don't want it to be so high. I kind of want to get it down to like maybe like 30. I feel like 30 is a good amount to have a variety of different genres and like a variety of different stories so I can pick up what I want when I'm in the mood for it. 40, 50, 60, 70. That's like 40 books, which will probably take me a couple of years, let's be real. But like, I mean, I feel like I could do that. So let me know if you've read any of these and what ones you think I should pick up first. If you like this video, please give it a like, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye.